Hello and welcome to the video. Before we get started, if you'd like to provide input on future content and get our weekly newsletter, click on our survey. The link will be below. We also have a report on Ethereum 2, along with a bonus report on why you should learn Solidity now. Again, the link will be below. Now on to the video, and thank you. Okay. So tonight I'd like to talk about something that, as someone who's, I'm also into CGI stuff, so it's a little, I guess, I have a soft spot for it, which is the RNDR network, and they do have their own token, and, but let me explain what this is. Now I did talk about it in my newsletter, if you subscribe to that. But basically, it was a system developed by Octane. Octane is big into rendering. They have they call it the Octane Renderer. But I think they view it as much more. So they explain right now. I think they want to grow to a metaverse and a whole bunch of other things. But basically, here's the problem. Now, Octane. Let me explain first what a renderer is. If you use a CGI program, and some of the popular ones are Cinema 4D, Blender, Houdini. And they're very popular among CG artists. And CG it could be opening credits for a movie. It could be a commercial. It could be, sometimes they mix CGI and live. An example of that, if you live in the U.S., you've probably seen commercials for Liberty Mutual Insurance. And one of their little things right now is they have Limo, Emu, and Doug. Doug is obviously played by an actor, and they kind of they're kind of like police detectives, I guess, but they're not. Instead of being police detectives, they find people who need to get Liberty Mutual Insurance. So you've got a human and this massive bird, and they can't do everything live. I mean, it's a bird. There's only so much that you can train the creature to, do certain things. So they mix the live recordings, the live of the actor and the bird with CGI. So there are various uses for it. But one of the things, what happens is you create your scene and you've got this cool thing going on with all kinds of, maybe it's explosions, maybe it's some cool thing moving around, whatever it is. Now you have to put it in a form that you can turn it into a video so someone can actually see it. Because they can't watch it on your screen, and they can't watch it in Cinema or Houdini. But so these types of apps do have their own solution. Unfortunately, most of the time it was rather slow and limited. So, as you'd expect, third-party companies took up the mantle and built their own solutions that you can purchase and add it on to the product. One of those is the Octane Renderer made by Octane. And even with these fast tools and a fast machine, if you have a very big scene, it can take hours. When I was taking a class on Cinema 4D, it took some of the stuff would just take 10 hours to render. And these weren't, 2-second things. They maybe be at most 2 or 3, maybe, a minute. at most, but they could take quite a long time. So one solution that artists have been using is, they call them render farms, where they send their files off someplace, and this facility or this place that has dozens of high powerful machines will, take their file from the application and turn it into a render, which is usually a series of images. So each frame is an image. Think about traditional animation, right? Well, that's one solution. There are security issues involved. I mean, a lot of them are in the Far East. I even saw one, that's in Russia. And they came up with this solution called the Render Network. Octane did, the maker of the Octane Renderer. So if you have an Octane, you can use the blockchain to send your render jobs securely, have them rendered, etc. Now, one thing I'd like to do at some point is maybe do a full demo on this. I probably have to, I can download a trial, or maybe sign up for a month or something. It's not that expensive. So this, of course, you have the artists in this case, and then the node operators. The node operators earn render tokens for rendering the jobs. As they say here, they do this by accepting jobs from users in needs of rendering work, known as the creators. Those are the artists who send their files to the render network and then assign to operators. And the renderer receives a small percentage of the render paid out. So that's how they get people to set up machines and join their network. And this is, unlike a lot of most what we've seen, you actually have to apply, because this is being used to make professional output. But let me show you this. Here's their knowledge base. And one interesting thing they do is, and of course they discuss being a creator, an artist, or a node operator, how to get started as a creator, how to get started as a node operator. Again, you have to have a free machine I would say you'd want a machine that is mostly dedicated, because if you're trying to use the machine for something else, it could interfere with the job and really hurt like any of these networks, there's reputation involved to getting the job. So basically you're making a little bit of an investment, I would say, if you really want to get into this and really make money here. And if you can show them that you have good internet and a dedicated machine that meets their criteria, I think they talk about it here. So you need an NVIDIA GPU, 6 gigs of video RAM, and preferably 8 gigs, and a fairly 32 gigs of memory, 100 gigs of free disk space. They also prefer SSD. Of course, SSDs are much faster. In order to connect, again, you have to apply, and then they'll provide the information. But one interesting thing is blockchain layer 1 versus layer 2. So what they're talking about in here is the fact that layer 1 is like the Ethereum network, and as we know and we've discussed, one of the issues with it is it's slow, and it's expensive, and it's overloaded, and that's why they're moving to Ethereum 2, which solves a lot of these problems. But right now they're on layer 1. They're on regular Ethereum. Now layer 2 is basically you build something on top of, top of existing blockchains. So they help the layer 1 system scale up past their inherent limitations. So they're working with a company for a cross-chain, a proof-of-stake cross-chain bridge to alleviate these transaction times and high gas prices. And easy movement between Ethereum and Matic, where render and escrow accounts have been set up. So, and then they have validators, and so they use, essentially it looks like they're using an escrow to go between this layer 2 and this layer 1. Now let me just show you here, and this may be something worth exploring more, this poly. And this is what they're using. So they're talking about the challenge of poor throughput, cost, etc. So this is a solution where you have your where Polygon allows you to build and talk about this here. So why am I interested? Obviously, I'm interested in this because I'm into CG. Why should you be interested in it? It's probably the more important question, because this idea of a couple of things. Number one, it is a very practical use of blockchain, which allows people to actually solve problems and do real work on the blockchain. Number two is their interesting solution the solution using this polygon technology to solve the inherent problems with Ethereum. And they go into some detail here. There's also a white paper. If you're looking, this is because a lot of these people using this may have be using, especially artists, using blockchain for the first time. So they talk about different safety things you should be aware of. And let me see if I can get back to the main page here. This is the knowledge base. Okay, so this is also, let's go back up here. There we go. Okay, so, and of course they go into discussing this. They discuss what they're trying to do, and they're looking to do more with this. And this is a little diagram of how it works. So you have your artist. He or she uses render tokens or credits to talk to a smart contract that connects to a blockchain. The node operator then uses the Octane Renderer to process the requested job. And yeah, Octane is one of the very popular ones. There are others. Probably in the Cinema 4D world, Octane and Redshift are probably the most popular right now. I have Redshift. I've used another one called Arnold, which is which is made by Autodesk. So I think Redshift is a good deal faster. I've not used Octane, although this whole cool thing might lead me to give it a shot, if nothing else, to try this thing out and, of course, present it to you. But this is where you can make some money if you're willing to, or have a machine that you can dedicate to doing these jobs. And they have different payments. It depends. They have economy. They have, for example, a studio needs something quick. they could, let's see, let's go back to the knowledge base. How to get started as a creator. So, you have to want estimating costs. So they have a way to estimate how much it's going to cost you. And that'll give, and it also depends on, let's see, preparing a scene. So this is all the information that an artist would need to know to get their stuff ready. And this is for the node operators. Now this is also interesting. Remember, we're using a different, if you're using MetaMask, you have to do some things a little bit different. Again, this is something that I think would be worthy of exploring. How you prepare use MetaMask with a layer 2. And I'm trying to think of anything else important for this introduction. Let's see. I will say, I talk about the team. Mr. Urbach has been involved with Otoy. He's the head of Otoy, and he's been involved in this world for some time. Now this is interesting. Mr. Winkleman is also known as, Beeple? And he's made, I kid you not, millions selling NFT of his art. He's a big, very well-known Cinema 4D artist. So he's on their board. So, and like I said, Mr. Urbach's been ahead of Otoy. And so, anyway, hopefully this has been interesting to you. I'd like to do some hands-on with this Otoy renderer this render network to show you, to see how it works in real life. Again, a real practical use of this stuff. I'd also like to explore more of this polygon technology. Obviously, it's being used right now to solve real-life problems in the blockchain. So anyway, hopefully this has been interesting. I know this is a little bit different because I didn't really do anything hands-on, but I think this is fascinating stuff, so I thought I'd present it to you all. And hopefully you do find it interesting as well. I know this CGI is one of the ways that the world is going. So that's one reason I'm interested. And it's also it's kind of cool to create, this artwork. Although before I finish, just this funny story, I took a fairly intense class on Cinema 4D, and I might have mentioned this before. So here I was. Most of the people in the class were full-time artists, and I always kind of joked about it that, most of these people were artists trying to learn technology. I was the engineer trying to somehow make art with the technology. I understood the technology. Making art, well, I got the assignments done. But compared to the art, the real art that some of my classmates made, I was like, okay. So anyway, again, hopefully this has been helpful, and thank you for watching, and I will speak to you next time. Take care.